Hey everyone, I want to bring a little bit of a flavor, or rather end the summer flavor. I don't know about anyone else who maybe might indulge a little bit on all the tasty things that are served during the summer in farmers markets and whatnot. And sometimes a lighter meal really feels good. And I wanted to show what it's going to be today for my dinner. And really, it's making good use of stuff you got lying around as well. So I have this leftover watermelon from the get-together that I had. It's been spiced with cinnamon and cacao, and I'm going to be blending this up in the Vitamix to make a smoothie. But I'm going to definitely make it special. See, growing stuff all through the summer, every day I find that I get to go and pick fresh things that I can use right away in a creative way, and some of my favorites are the colors, especially growing edible flowers. Here you have a mixture of Borage flowers, which are really nice star-shaped, usually blue when they're fully developed. Sometimes they'll still have a little bit purple on them. The Marigold petals, as well as Calendula petals. And back here is some Watercress and some cherry tomatoes. So this is going to be my really intense and flavor enhancer for what is going to be a watermelon smoothie. And I can't emphasize enough to really eat all these different colors, because nature gives us these different colors through the different seasons, and I can guarantee you that all the phytochemicals that are in here and the color pigmentations are all going to be doing something good for you at this particular time of the year. So when you have stuff like this available for harvest, you should definitely do it, take advantage of it, use it readily, and really get in the habit of growing something yourself. Things are not that hard to grow in pots, even inside the house, if you don't want to do a whole garden bed setup. But I really want to encourage you guys to have little simple fresh things like this that you can use every day to get some live microbiology and phytonutrients in your body. One of the really sweet things about this is that I don't even go and wash these things. I just pick up, blow off any dirt that's on them, and then I put them straight to use. That means I'm going to definitely get a lot of local microbiota that are on these foods and eat them directly. And that's really when the communication that happens between my inner skin and the outer world. So it's good for us, I would say, because I know that people might argue that you should really wash everything clean, but really I feel that we live in an era of complete fear of germs, and we need to get really back into that habit of taking in diverse natural foods that have natural microbes in them that really bring a connection between us and the land that we live in. So I really want to encourage people to do that experiment, see how you feel, and gauge accordingly. But definitely try to incorporate some natural living foods in your diet, especially at this time of the year, and reap the benefits from them. So simply enough, I'm going to add, it's not the big tomato, I'm going to save that for another food. But into the Vitamix goes usually the best way to do this is put in the stuff that makes the most liquid on the bottom. That way when it starts rotating, it's going to eat up most of the harder to get stuff. And this way I don't even need to add any water. And you can use the tamper if you want to use bigger pieces. If you want to just chop everything nice and small to begin with, then the blades of the Vitamix are actually really good to take everything down before it runs for too long and you end up oxidizing the food more, which you want to try to avoid with a blender. That's why I like making it put a little bit more work initially to become more efficient down the road, and also it makes cleanup easier, at least I find, because I'm using less tools. And if you're wondering what this is, I cut myself preparing some roots to make some capsules. So, well, good lessons to learn. All of you have tried a Vitamix, you know the general gist of it. Start in your low setting, and then you mark up, and then a few seconds into that process, you rev it up to max. So let's give this a roll. So as you can see, pretty liquidy consistency, and I'm going to pour that and give it a try. If you don't like that sample exactly as it is, then you can always add additional things to give it some other flavor or even more nutrition intensity. I'm deciding after sampling it that I do want to play with it a bit, so I'm going to put in Maca powder, Lucuma powder, and bee pollen. The cool thing about using stuff like this is that it turns what could be like a small meal to a snack into an even more wholesome meal, because when you get these different flavors playing together and you really eat a smoothie as opposed to drinking it, you really get those flavors to start come out the more that you chew. That's right, you chew this stuff. It's food, it's not liquid. Chew it and appreciate those different flavors that come out. So play with whatever additions you want to have to something like this, but it's easy to do without, you know, adding extra sugar per se, or using a banana or a date that's even more sweet and stuff. I'm only putting like a small amount of this stuff for that flavor because it's quite concentrated. You can almost think of them as a type of sweetener onto themselves, especially the Lucuma and the bee pollen as well. So anyways, those are just some little extra side tips, so play. Just want to say what a difference it makes adding those little tiny touches. Something that turned somewhat bland just got a whole lot of life. But I have to emphasize this enough that people who, and I don't do the smoothie thing a lot, this is just on days when I feel a little lighter. I like chewing my food more, but like in that fashion, when you guys eat this stuff, you really gotta do that. Like, I'll be doing that for about a whole minute, just swishing around, chewing, and really letting the saliva come out and get some early enzyme activity happening in your mouth to help digestion. And when you finally intake this stuff down, it's also going to be much more easy to assimilate. Your body knows what's coming. You know, it's letting your body communicate in these subtle ways that we don't even think about or we take for granted. But if we slow down a little bit more in our lives, we'll start to notice those little nuances and how we can take a little better care of ourselves by noticing those small details in our day-to-day lives. So you can turn something like making a smoothie into a lesson about connecting with yourself and being more open with yourself. So anyways, food is one of my tools to healing, and enjoy. Oh, there was one last caveat. I forgot to add in the cucumber seeds that my mom took out of her cucumber for dinner. And that's a great addition because you're going to get some fresh protein and fat right here from the seeds.